Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profits Show. My name is Jim Landers, and it is my mission to uplift portrait photographers to make a great income doing what they love. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. This show is for photographers who feel they have something to learn on the business side. If that's you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. For Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her wonderful team are there to make you look like a hero. Man, they are wonderful at what they do. You are going to love the work that they do because they love doing it for you. Go to digitalprolab.com. If you're not already working with them, go to digitalprolab.com right now. And of course, for Landers Photography School, that's me. I teach photographers how to do what it is that they already have a passion for. The majority of photographers that I have seen over the years, over 4,000 of them, have been struggling at some point or another, at some section of their business. And I have found that it's usually on the business side. And so that's why I spend most of my time with it. I didn't start off with an interest in the business side. My interest was art and photography and creating beautiful photographs. It became just as much of an interest for me to share the business side. I didn't have it at first, but man, I sure do love sharing it now. Send me a message at jim@landersphotoschool.com and let's talk. Landersphotography.com. Now, I am grateful that you guys are here right now. I want to encourage you to make comments and ask questions throughout this discussion. For those of you who have done so already, I invite you to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That's StreamYard.com/Facebook. And that gives we simulcast this show to 8 different places. 5 of them are Facebook groups, 2 are YouTube channels, and 1 is a LinkedIn page. But because we're doing that, bringing it all into one, we can't see what each one of them are doing. And so this gives us at least the ability to react and connect with those who are on Facebook in real time. But if you don't, that's fine. It makes it where you are anonymous, but it'll just say Facebook user to us. But I encourage you to interact with us and hit that like button, hit that love button. We love seeing that. Don't you love it? When someone likes the work that you do? Yeah. Of course. So when one of our wonderful panelists says something that you like, hit that like button. If you love what they're saying, hit that love button. And right now, I'd like for you to enter in #live in the comments section right now. Enter in #live. That lets me know that you're watching right now. If you're watching this as a replay, do me a favor and enter in #replay. So I'm going to bring on the panelists here in just a moment because I want you to see who they are, and I'm going to bring them on as a group and then on each individually to answer these questions. So I want to welcome you to the discussion panel of how I give my clients the best experience. As always, for our monthly panel discussions, we have a wonderful group of panelists who have valuable insights to share. Each of our panelists has different perspectives on running a business, and they're here because they believe in uplifting the photographer community, and they want to inspire and motivate you. So get ready to be inspired and help me welcome the panelists right now as I bring them on. We have Liliana, Sarah, and Mary. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Did you guys have fun photographing the eclipse earlier, or did you have just experience some clouds and some darkness for a moment?
Just not a whole lot of anything. Just a glimpse here or there. We didn't catch much, unfortunately.
Yep, same with me.
It's super cloudy for us too, so we just saw it get dark.
Got it. Well, It's only been a few hours since then, so I'm really grateful that each one of you has taken time out of your day, sacrificed whatever it is that you're doing in order to be here. So let's bring on each one of you one at a time. I'm going to start with Liliana, and I'm going to take Sarah and Mary off for now and bring you right back in a moment. Hi, Liliana.
Hi, Jim.
So I've got and I'm going to bring you in closer. There we go. Uh, could you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I am a portrait photographer. I started here in San Antonio in 2017. I have a background in the arts as a graphic designer and art director, and in marketing. Right now, what I specialize in is creating the portrait that reminds you every day what it is that you go to work for, so that when you come home, you see that motivator every day. You're reminded of how much you love them, your family, or yourself. No shame in that.
Totally agree with that. Thank you for what you do. Your work is beautiful. Every time I have an opportunity to see your work, I'm definitely clicking that like button on it, or a love button, because it's always so wonderful. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to bring on Sarah next. So Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, I am a newborn and family photographer, and I did not start here in Texas, actually. I started about 10 years ago in Arizona, in a small town where we lived, where my husband was stationed. And just as my business started to thrive there, we had to pick up and move to the DC area and start all over again. And then just as I was starting to thrive there, we picked up and moved to San Antonio. So thankfully, I've been thriving here since then. And I've had absolutely amazing clients here. So hopefully, we're hoping we get to stay here and continue on, hopefully until maybe I retire here.
So you've got to see this from different places. And do you find that you run a business differently based on the different locations that you've experienced so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't find, I don't think my logistics is what seems to have changed the most. When I started out in Arizona, we lived in a small town, and I did in-person sales and presentations with my clients in their homes, because I could literally drive to any of my clients' home in about 12 minutes or less. No joke. And
Nice.
so then we moved to the DC area, and that just would not work anymore. So it would take an hour to get anywhere, even 5 miles sometimes. And it just wasn't working. So I had to completely kind of rethink how I delivered galleries and what kind of client experience I had. And then when we moved to San Antonio, I still kind of have that issue of logistics and meeting with clients. I have clients coming from a couple hours away sometimes. So yeah, it's really changed. Just the location I'm in and how big it is and how populated it is changes sort of how I run things. So
Yeah,
for sure.
totally. I've only lived in San Antonio, so I can only imagine. But the majority of the people I work with are here in San Antonio. But there have been a handful that were from somewhere else. Sometimes just a small town not far from here. But the way that they work has to be different. And so, thank you for sharing those experiences with me and with us.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to bring on Mary now. Mary, how's it going today?
Good. Thank you. Hi, Jim. Hi, everyone.
Would you do me a favor and tell us about who you are, and a little bit about who you are, and share anything that you want to, but also about what it is you do for work, what kind of photography you do?
Sure. I am Mary Larson, and my small business is Silver Moon Photography by Mary Larson. And I'm a mom to, big strapping grown men and beautiful stepdaughters. And I have 8 handsome grandsons. So family is super important to me. And I just love being able to be around the grandkids as much as I'm able to now that I'm retired from corporate America. I worked for AT&T for 40 years. And then I've been dabbling in photography really since about 2005, I would say, when I got my first digital camera and went to my first Texas school. I find what I really, really love to photograph is maternity. And I think the reason for that is how I felt when I was pregnant. It was probably the happiest time of my life, experiencing carrying my 2 babies. Um, but at the same time, I didn't feel that great about myself. In a way, I felt, very frumpy, to use a kind of a funny description, but that's how I felt. And making moms feel extremely beautiful and sexy was just not a thing when I was carrying my kids 40 years ago. So I really enjoyed doing that. That's what is my favorite thing to do.
Love it. You know, you said all 8 of your grandchildren are boys?
All 8 of them, yes,
What are
yes.
the odds of that?
Boys run in our family. When my grandmother had almost 40 grandchildren, and there were
Wow.
there were like, when I was growing up, there were only 4 of us girls. There's more now, but
Wow.
yeah, most of them were boys, and boys just run in our family, it seems. But yep, all 8 of mine are boys.
Rare. You're a diamond in your family.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of attention and uh, more good things, or does that mean you were put through a microscope a little bit more than everybody else?
Um, well, growing up in my own family, my own siblings, there were 6 of us, and there again, it was mostly boys, just me and my sister, and the other 4 were boys. So, um, we might have been favored a little bit and protected, very protective dad. So, he was very protective of us. He was much more liberal with the
Good.
boys, of course. But, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, I've got a question for you. The first question, I'm going to ask each one of you the same questions, but this is a question on your philosophy about client experience, which you shared a little bit already, but I just want you to go into it a little bit more. I'd
Okay.
like for you to please describe your philosophy for creating the ideal client experience. That moment from whatever moment things start for you to the moment when you call something completed, the job completed. What is your philosophy on client experience?
Well, I would say for me, it's so important to treat the client just as you would want to be treated, to treat them in the way that makes them feel special, that makes them feel that you are truly listening to them and caring rather about what it is that they want. Sometimes I hear people talking about um, how they want to do a certain thing because they love it. I want to do it because I want my client to love it. So I want to treat them professionally, but still kind of with a friendly kind of relationship and tone, so that they feel comfortable with me. So. And I would say I would try to, carry that through all the way from the initial phone call to through the consultation, through the sale, through the session itself, and then through the sales process.
So, do you feel like you've got a lot of empathy for your clients, just an empathic kind of person where you feel for them and you're watching their body language, you're watching their eyes, you're listening to their words? How are you pulling this information from them to give them that ideal experience?
I do. I think it's partly from the way I conduct myself with them, but also partly because of the things that I say to try to make them feel comfortable to open up and talk to me about what it is that they dream of in their portraits, and then try to assure them, whatever concerns they may have, because in maternity photography, you do tend to show a lot of the body. And so I try to assure them that I have concerns myself about how I look, how big I am or not small I am, or whatever it may be. And I try to assure them that I understand exactly how they feel about that, and that I know how to alleviate that in the portrait, through posing, through lighting, and of course through some of the editing. And I think,
Awesome.
you know, I think that people tend to feel like I'm kind of a motherly figure, and are comfortable enough with that in the type of
Yeah.
portraits that I do.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm going to ask that same question now of Liliana. Bring her on. Liliana, so can you describe your philosophy for creating the ideal client experience?
Well, similar to Mary, I want to show my clients that I care about them by asking them questions, finding out why they're doing this, how do they envision themselves in their portrait, um, where they would like to be photographed, how they would like to be photographed. I also show my expertise with a background in fine arts and graphic design. And I always try to guide them clearly through the whole experience so that they don't have any questions. And then I always want to check back with them throughout the process to make sure that we're clear and that they know what will be happening, so that the portrait is customized to them as much as possible. Because this is going to live in their house. They're going to see it every day. And it has to be in harmony with their lifestyle, their decor, and their personalities.
That sounds like you're thinking this all the way through, which is, of course, what photographers should do. So I find it, I love it when someone shares that kind of thing. What do you feel that your background in design it has added to your ability to be a better photographer or a better business person? How has that added to what you do?
I think I know instinctively by now what's going to look good, and to have an idea of how to photograph someone, to have an idea ahead of time based on the feedback that I get from them of what the final portrait is going to look like before we take that shot. So before we click that button, we have a very clear kind of pinned down idea of what the final product is going to be. It helps with color theory. It helps with design and positioning people and overall placement of things in the portrait. If it's an outdoor portrait, for example, and just balance what is the white space that you need, what is an appropriate distance. Something that I like to talk about sometimes with my clients is make recommendations on sizing. If you have a large family and you want to include, let's say, your house in the background, you're talking about a relatively large portrait. So, however, if you have a close-up of somebody, a portrait pretty close up, then you don't necessarily want to make it huge. You might, opt to use that, print that a little bit smaller and use it in a secondary wall of your home, or use it in your album or something like that. So, taking the client through speaking confidently about what I'm talking about, that's, my background has helped me with that.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely was struck one time by a headshot image that isn't normally a headshot. It was a quince, and it was just a head and shoulder shot, and it was probably about a 4 foot wide print. And I really had never seen a quinceanera portrait done that way before, because you want to show off that dress. And so it struck me as odd. Now, to each his own. If that's what she wanted, then she got what she wanted, and more power to her. But I agree, that seemed like an odd thing. And besides, where are you going to put the photograph of your face that's 5 times larger than your actual face?
Right.
Thank you for sharing that, Liliana. I'm going to ask that same question now of Sarah. So, Sarah, can you tell me, or at least describe to me, what your philosophy is on creating an ideal client experience with you?
It's funny, Mary took the words right out of my mouth, and Liliana too, about the golden rule. I try to live my life by the golden rule, of course, and I run my business by the golden rule. It sounds a little vague, but I really believe that if I always adhere to treating my clients the way I would want to be treated, not just as a person, but when I'm giving my hard-earned money to somebody, then I think I'll never go wrong. And my clients will always be taken care of, and my business will always succeed and grow if I just do business by the golden rule. And I'm not sure if I lost you there,
Nope.
Jim, did I? Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So is that something that you just innately knew as you started the business, or is that something that you evolved into?
No, I think it's just kind of a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm not by training a business person. I was a science teacher, actually. I taught biology and chemistry. So when I decided to start my business, I was sort of way out of the realm of what I was trained to do. But even before I was a teacher, even before I started my business, I worked in customer service. I started in high school working at our local Kmart, and that was literally my job, was to go and help people. And I remember how much I liked doing it, and I just enjoyed like helping people. I even remember helping a lady find a gift for her grandson or something, and she thanked me profusely, and I was like, "Oh, this is the greatest feeling, just helping people." So I think I'm kind of wired that way, and although I love the art and creating the art that I make and the portraits of my clients, I think when I see what I'm able to give them, maybe it's slightly selfish, but it feels really good to make people happy that way. I got hooked on it. So I think just treat them that way. I think my goal is I always want them to think of me and think, oh, Sarah will take care of us. She's got us. She'll take care of it. I want them to know that they can always call me. Oh, Sarah, I know we don't have to worry about it. Sarah will take care of us. If she makes a mistake, she'll own up for it. So, and I think I have so many returning clients. So I think somewhere along the line that I kind of got that right. At least I hope I did. So, I think it's just in here. It's just kind of the way I'm wired. So, but it seems to be working well, and I sleep very well at night. So that's good. That's really what I want, is to make money doing this is kind of a dream. So
Yeah.
To make people feel good, even though they're paying me, that's pretty tremendous. So.
Well, you mentioned that it may be selfish, that you're doing it. You want to feel good about it. I think some people feel like the word selfish is only in the negative. Well, isn't life about balance? I mean, selfish is in the positive as well. There are things that we do for ourselves that would be in the selfish category that aren't in the negative.
True.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
therefore, you are absolutely, and I think you and everyone sees that. We probably, many of us feel that a similar way. Maybe not. We may not describe it exactly the same way, but yeah, we want to feel good. We want to do things that cause other people to be happy with us and pleased with us. And as you said, keep on coming back because you've got your returning clients. This all is making us feel good. And we are doing it because we love doing it. It makes us feel good in doing it. And if that is selfish, then we are selfish. We want others to feel good, and we're going to do what it takes to make them feel that way because it is a symbiotic relationship. We both feel good as a result of this effort that we're putting in. So thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So you have the next question to
Okay.
begin with, and this is about planning the that client journey, what it is they're going to be doing. So how do you plan the client journey from the initial contact? In fact, let me put that up on the screen so you can read that along with me. How do you plan the client journey from initial contact to the final delivery of your images? How does this journey reflect your commitment to creating whatever type of experience you want them to have? In this instance, I wrote down a thrilling experience, which may not at all be what you're after, but what is it that you are thinking about? What is it that you're putting into it that causes your vision to happen?
I lost a tiny bit of what you said, I think, in the beginning, but I kind of, I think, understand where you're going. If I think of from start to finish, really, the very first thing I think that I try to do with everybody is just with any client inquiries, just to develop a rapport with them. And I find one of two things will happen, either through talking with them, because I always make an initial phone call first, 99% of the time. Every now and then I'm not able to make a phone call if for some reason, if the phone number is incorrect or something, and then I'll email a client back. But almost always I try to make a phone call and just try to talk to them and introduce myself and have a conversation and just chat with them. And I think I will either find that I can get an idea, I can glean from what they say, what it is they really, really ultimately want. Whether it's they want a Christmas card, a beautiful photo for the Christmas card, or whether they are slightly heartbroken over how fast they're have really, really beautiful photos to remember that. I kind of get an idea of what it is ultimately that they want. And I'll find that either they're a great fit or I might not be the best fit for them. So I think having that phone call to talk with them and have a conversation about what they're really looking for, and just to try to almost read between the lines, because the very initial first phone call only doesn't last forever. So you have to do a little bit of inferring. But I think that kind of gives me an idea on how I can help them better. So there have been times where clients are, and I don't know if I can think off the top of my head, but I can just tell that I might not be the right fit based on what it is they want, or maybe it's something they've seen. And I'm just feeling that I'm not going to be able to give them exactly what they want. And so I can refer them to someone else. But hopefully I can talk with people and realize, I think this would be perfect. I would love to meet their family and have fun and play with their kids and capture all of that, and then move on from there. So the initial phone call, I think, it feels to me like the most important, because that's when we develop a rapport and just kind of start that relationship. And are you still there, Jim, too? I'm just making sure I didn't lose you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Nice to talk
I
to you.
am.
So,
I am curious, do you do it as kind of a go with the flow, or do you have a plan for the client journey that you have ahead of time, and you take them through this journey that you have created?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I have, although I don't know if I would say go with the flow. I do have a plan. I have a whole workflow. And because I very much have mom brain and I forget things, I have in my CRM, I have everything set up to help remind myself of what I need to do next. But I think in the beginning, it's that just I guess it's a little bit more go with the flow in the beginning, just trying to get to know clients. But once I have a client that is ready to move forward and book a session, then the next thing I do is I get everything all set up for them. And I tell them on the phone what the next steps will be and what they can expect from me. They then get all of those things in email. And then as the session time comes closer, I simply reiterate what we're going to be doing. So, and as much as I tend to rely on, or I try to rely on at least automation to make the process smooth for them, I don't ever want to just leave them being taken care of just to tell them what to do next. I want to tell them what's going to be happening next. So I do a lot of texting with my clients. If I have permission, I get their phone number, of course. I have a separate business line, but it still rings into my cell phone, so I can text them all the same. And my clients are moms. They have young children, and a lot of times a text, if you're all of us, if we're parents, about the whole phone thing. You put a phone up here and all of a sudden the world comes to an end and everything's on fire and somebody broke a leg, and phone calls are just difficult at a certain point. So I am constantly just keeping in contact with my clients with the next steps through a quick text or a phone call or emails, just letting them know what the next process or what the next step in the process is. And really that they're always top of mind, because they really are. So when I have a session coming up, I'll make sure to give my clients a quick text the night before and the morning of, it's, oh, good morning. We're so lucky that the weather's so beautiful today if I'm shooting a family. And I just feel like when I hire someone, if they send me a quick message in whatever manner they do so, I'm like, oh, wow, they didn't forget about me. They're excited. And I think that's important too.
What CRM program are you using?
I use 17 Hats.
17, good.
And I'm a little spoiled because I've been using them since their beta version. And so I'm grandfathered in to all of those goodies, and I don't think I'd change even if I could. They're really great. I love them. So yeah, I've been using them for a long time.
Good. We bring that topic up on the Portrait Profit Show every once in a while about automation and using software to run your business or to assist you, and having automation to make it where you can do more than what you can do yourself. And so there are so many of them. I've probably reviewed, I don't know, 40, 50 different ones. There's so many. I only ever mentioned in my classes, maybe 5 or 10, maybe 10 that I even mentioned.
I only know
they're all good. There's not I don't know of anyone that I would put in the bad category. It's just there's some that are better for different purposes. It's just like all the tools at the tool store are good tools, but when you go in there, do you need one of all the tools that are in there? Of course not. You go in there and get the tools, the right combination of tools that you need, that you feel are right for what you're trying to accomplish, and you leave. You pay for it and then you leave. And so there's a bunch of them out there, and we have one coming up I think 2 weeks from today. I'll mention it later in the show about what's coming up about automation. So thank you for sharing that you use 17 Hats. All right, let's ask that same question now of Mary. So let's bring Mary on. So Mary, as far as your planning, how do you plan the client journey from initial contact to the final delivery of your images? And how does this journey reflect your commitment to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish with your clients? And I think you might be muted.
I'm sorry, I sure was. My little dog goes nuts if somebody is around the house outside, and so I just wanted to make sure that he starts barking there. Okay, so how do I plan the client journey from initial contact to final delivery? and I have a process that is basically the same for each client, unless, whatever they're sharing with me dictates that it needs to be different. But with every client, I like to try to talk to them on the phone first, even if they have contacted me via email or a private message. I always ask for a phone call because I feel like when you are communicating via email, it's nice that you have a record of what was said between you. But sometimes the feeling behind what you're saying doesn't come through. And so I prefer to talk to them in a telephone call, and at the initial call, try to find out what they are planning to do with the images that we're wanting to create. And then I almost always have an in-person consultation. And I invite them to my home. I let them know that my studio is a home studio, but that I have professional setups with backgrounds and professional lighting and everything. And invite them to come so that they can see and touch the products that they will be able to have their images on. And then also for us to get to know each other, and for them to be comfortable with me. And I would say that, it's pretty successful for them to feel comfortable and want to go ahead and book with me if they come and do an in-person consultation. And then I do explain the process that we'll be meeting again, of course, to do the session. And then once more, so that we can go over the images, and that I will help them with their selections, and also the products that they want to order. So I just try to assure them that I will help them in every step of the way until we get the final product delivered to them. So.
And is that something that you have always done from the first time you started in 2005, doing it that way?
Yeah.
Or has it evolved into how you're describing it today?
It has evolved. Initially, I didn't charge anywhere near enough for anything, and I did
That's most of us.
very small packages.
Yeah.
I didn't have a consultation or anything like that. But I have found that having the in-person consultation along with the initial phone call really helps us to connect better with one another. And I think it's really important that the client feel comfortable with you. And I try to assure them that, I am trustworthy. I can be trusted, and to take care of what they need, that I have the expertise, and that I care about what it is that they want, not so much what I want to do, what I foresee, is going to be a great portrait for them, but what is it that they're envisioning, and try to carry through to create what it is that they're wanting.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Now I'm going to ask that same question now of Liliana, so I'm going to bring her on. Liliana, can you tell me about how this is on the planning side of things? How do you plan the client journey from that initial contact, whatever that is, to whatever you define as complete? Because all of us do different things. So for some, that's delivery of prints. Sometimes it's framed prints. Sometimes it's a pickup or a delivery. Sometimes it's going to their home and actually installing it on their walls. And so different photographers do different things, and they are all good. There's not one better than the other. They are all tools on the shelf in a tool store. And so our clients get to choose which ones they want. So I'm not saying that you need to have a specific way. I'm wondering what your thought process is. How do you plan? What is it that goes into that to make sure that your vision actually happens for your clients?
Well, first of all, I want to show them how I can be of service to them. And to do that, well, I want to show how I can be of service to them. So, and I want to be able to show a clear plan of action. And to be able to do that, the first thing I need to do is get my client on the phone. Once I have my client on the phone, I can ask them questions about who they are, how they feel about, establish that rapport, ask questions about what they're looking for out of the portrait, talk a little bit about the experience, and try to see if I can. The next step for me is to actually go for an in-person visit to their home. That it would be more like a planning session. And I explained to them the reason for this is so that I can get a better idea of their style, so that I can get a better idea of their personalities, so that they can meet me in person, see if we click. And it will help me customize the session to their taste. And so that the product, the final product, is going to look perfect in their home. So as I go through the house, I can point walls that would be ideal for art. I could suggest sizes. I could get an idea of what finishes to recommend, type of framing that will go with their decor. I can also help them with their wardrobe, whether they want to show it to me at the time, or we can talk about colors that will harmonize with the decor that they already have in place. So to me, that's a very important part of planning the portrait. At that point, we set the date for the session. I collect the session fee. I talk a little bit about products. Like I said, as I'm going by, I can make recommendations based on products. And then one thing, I'm looking down because I made notes. The day of the session, what I would say to everyone is have a plan. Be respectful of your client's time. Have a timeline, poses that you're going to do, what outfits, if they're going to change outfits. Sit down and plan that out so that is as smoothly as possible. Explain to your client how that's going to work. And I think you're going to get clients that are thrilled, that are participating with you. They're part of it. They're engaged through the process. If you're sharing every step of the way with them. The day of delivery, like you mentioned, I do I do offer installations. Not everybody does that, but I do like to offer installation on my wall art. And the reason is I want to make sure it's up on their walls and they're enjoying them. It makes them happy to see that they don't have homework or something else to do. The art is up, it's not sitting in a closet. So they get to enjoy it right away. People that come visit, they get to show, with pride to other people. They will recommend you for going above and beyond. So I just don't see any downside to offering that service. And I think it's a plus for you as a business owner, and also for your client to have their art in their home, professionally installed at the appropriate height. That's another thing, because they could install it in a wall that is not the appropriate wall, or they could install it way too high or way too low where it cannot be appreciated. So those things are important to me, and that's why I take on the installation of the portraits.
I love that. And if you regularly watch the show, you know that that's exactly how I describe an ideal way to do it. I don't think there is one right way to do photography in the entire process. I think there's the right way for you, but that's how I choose to do it. I want my photographs to go on the wall. I think of photography as being a service business. And so therefore, if I'm giving my clients any work to do in addition to what they have to do already, because mom's got to get the clothes together. She's got to get everybody up in the morning, even though they're going, oh, mom, really? And so they have to go through all that kind of work. And I'm giving them more work of choosing what frame to go with it. And by giving them digital files, why would I give them more work? This is part of what I do. What artist who does paintings doesn't have a frame? They may not do installations, but we are creating something that's very specific to the family, whereas the artist was creating something that was more of just something that they loved. And so you bought that. But we have the ability to do things. Who else who knows better where it's going to go on the wall than someone who does this every single day? And so I want to not, if it would be like a roofer who said, well, you know how to use a hammer and nails. I'm going to take the old roof off, get one of those roll off dumpsters, take all that stuff away, give you a pile of shingles and a bag of nails with a bow on it. And you can do your thing because you know how to use a hammer and nails. Well, no roofer would do that to their clients. That's why I think that photographers might want to consider not doing that to their clients either. But there are lots of circumstances that make that not the right tool. For me, it was. But for others, it may not be. And if you're doing something like headshots, then that would not be the appropriate thing to do.
Right.
If you're doing seniors, it may or may not be. There's a lot of things where that's not the right option to take. But for mine, I specialized in family portraits as home decor. That was my slogan. So therefore, that's what I did. I would do the planning session in their home. I would go to their home 4 times in working with them. So I'm so glad that you said that, because I like hearing it, that others are doing it too.
Yeah.
So I have the next question for you. Can I, did you have anything else you wanted to say about the way that you do it?
I think that pretty much covers it.
Cool.
I mean, just the important thing is to not if when you do this session, at the end of the session, then you set the time for their selection session, image selection and product selection. And don't be shy to make suggestions. I think I already said this, but they're trusting you as the expert. Don't put it back on them. Well, which one do you like better? No, say, I would pick this one. They can always say, no, I like the other one. But they're asking you, don't throw it back at them. Guide them through appropriate sizing. Don't overwhelm them with too many choices in actual images. And don't overwhelm them with too many frames or products, because you will lose them. They won't. Guide them. Don't overwhelm them.
I like what you're saying. I totally agree. Sounds like we have a lot more that we could be talking about on this one, but I better keep on going. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Now, before I ask you the new question, I'm going to go to the viewers and ask them a quick question. You guys, hey, if this is resonating with you, would you do me a favor? Will you comment yes, or say what it is that you're liking, that you're hearing, or some idea that you've heard that you might be able to employ in your own business? Just at the very least, write the word yes in the comments. Let me know that you're watching. I want to know. And of course, always, I invite you to click that like button and click that love button. So do that for me right now as we move on to the next question, which is about building an emotional connection. So Liliana, what strategies are you using to build emotional connection with your clients at different stages of working with you?
I think that's a hard one, because there's no technique. You just really have to care about them as people. I mean, you're doing something that is a legacy, really, for them, for their children. So take it seriously. Find out exactly who they are, what they want, what they love to do, and then ask about it. And if it's their business, then, if you see something that is relevant to them, send it to them. One of the things that I think kind of opens up that communication is through the wardrobe design process. I tell them that they can text me. So they text me photos of outfits, and that just establishes a back and forth, and I can make suggestions what this would go with, or what shoes are better with this outfit. So I think that's one of the things that creates an emotional connection. And if you can connect with them on social media outside, when appropriate, I think it's good. And to, stay aware of their lives, of course, not in a fake way. Like, if you actually care, if something that happened in their lives is relevant, then comment on it. Let them know that that you're there, that you care. You don't always have to be selling to them. And the same thing, if it's been years and you see something that is relevant. I have a client that I've done some branding images that has outdoor advertising, and now he does buses. And whenever I see a bus with his image on it, I take a picture and I send it to him, and I'm like, stop following me. Just have fun, be playful, and stay top of mind with them as a person and as a business.
That's fun. Do you really photograph the bus every time you see it?
Yeah, if it's, yeah, I do.
I like that. I have done that on occasion. I wouldn't say with any regularity, but I've done things like that myself. One of my clients was on TV last week. He was being interviewed by one of the TV stations, and not in one of the news sections where they're not, where you don't want to be interviewed. This was one of those positive stories. I photographed the TV as I was watching the episode and sent him the image, and he said, "What? That's on already? Where did you see that?" So I told him that it was on. He knew that it was
sometimes
going
it's
to be
us
on,
that
but
we
he
find
didn't know.
something, an article, anything, or congratulations on winning this, or I think that's not fake. You know, that is actually caring, and they're not likely to go and to another person because they know you care and you get them, and they don't gain anything by going to someone else.
There you go. Thank you so much for that, Liliana. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask that same question now of Sarah. So I'm going to bring her on. Sarah, can you tell me about your thoughts, strategies, or process, or even philosophy on how you build an emotional connection with your clients at different stages of them working with you?
Sure. I think with family photography, and I think a big focus of having an emotional connection with my clients and developing that relationship, hopefully like a lifelong relationship, is really, I think, getting to know their children, because they're the most important little people in their life. And I think, of course, mine are in my life. And I always sort of do everything within the client process, ultimately to be able to sort of become that family friend, I guess, the way a coach would be or a teacher would be. I, you know, a lot of my clients say, "Oh, my kids are so excited to see Miss Sarah," and that's what I really love, for the kids to know me as one of their trusted family friends. And that, I think, is what makes the sessions go so well, when there's just a lot of understanding between me and the kids, and they know that I'm there to have fun with them and to take that. So I think ultimately that's sort of the most important thing with families anyway, families with young children. And I really start that with the initial part of my client process, which is after they book a session, they complete some paperwork and a questionnaire. And the client questionnaire is where I get them. I tell them that's sort of the fun part, where they get to think about the planning stages and any special kind of images they'd like to capture about their children, what their children love to do, and what they love to do as a family, and if they have any special concerns about their kids. And that part, I think, is very important. And I've had families before mention in their questionnaire that their child is very, very, very shy, and almost debilitatingly shy. But family photos are important for people. And so I had a family like that was really concerned about their child being very shy and being uncomfortable. And so it turned out, when I saw their address, they lived quite close to me. And I typically don't actually meet my clients in their homes. We have a consultation over the phone. I've had some come to my home for newborn sessions to visit the studio, but typically I just do that over the phone. And then since we have a long outdoor session, that's often where the first session where we start really cultivating that relationship even more. But I have gone to my clients' homes before to meet kids that are really shy, or kids whose parents are a little concerned about just how, not necessarily how cooperative they're going to be, but just how, whether they're even going to be happy to be there, or whether they're just going to be, scared of seeing a stranger, that kind of thing. So I've gone to my clients' homes before, introduced myself, and I've been working with kids for a lot of years. I taught middle school and high school, but before that, I worked with elementary and early ed, preschool age children. So I think most kids know that I'm a kid kind of lady. I'm a mom, I'm a kid friendly kind of person. I think kids know that. So I think that really helps parents to be like, oh, she's okay. Our kids are going to be fine with her. She totally gets them. I've had some before, that a few children who are like, too cool for school. And typically that's boys, usually around maybe my son's age. And they're just kind of like this. And I just kind of meet them where they're at. And I never push them. And I, several months ago, had a little boy like that, just was not having it and was kind of digging in his heels. And I just worked with him and talked with him, and I focused on his sister. And then for the end of the session, he was telling me that the house next to them was for sale and I should come move into it. So he was trying at the end, like, it eventually won him over. And then he was awesome. He just cooperated. So I think I always sort of make that focus. Although I want to make my client happy, ultimately the most important people in their life are the ones that they really, truly want to have treated, like gold. So that's always, and I love kids. So it's not hard to do. So I kind of make that sort of my focus always, are the children, making sure they're happy, because when the kids are happy, that's really what I want to capture in my images.
Your experience as
what was that? I said just how happy they are in their parents' arms. That's what I really want to catch. So if I can, get happy children in our sessions, that's all I need.
How has your experience as a teacher benefited you with your photography business?
Oh gosh. Well, to put it pretty bluntly, I often tell my clients, especially with family sessions outdoors, for kids that are a little bit older, old enough to start getting into things, and to maybe get sassy and kind of mischievous. I always tell parents, please don't worry about it. There's no misbehaving. There's no misbehaving here. Maybe if they run up to me and kick me in the shins, that, I might question that, but no, but it's the silliness and the goofiness that parents are always worried about, because they're afraid that they're not going to get any great photos. But I tell them, don't worry. I love kids, but I also have no problem saying, no, we can't do that. Come here, let's go over here. And in my studio as well, I have a very small studio space. So I have to be like a teacher to my children, to my clients' children, to my little subjects. So I'm okay with that. I've seen some photographers before who are a little reticent about telling other people's children what to do. And I'm not, I guess, but it's only ever for safety reasons, of course, or just to get a really beautiful photograph that their parent is trying to get. So I never have to get after children, anything like that. But I have no problem redirect sit on that. And I tell people, remember, they always listen to teachers and coaches better than us, better than their own parent. I mean, every parent knows that. So I just say, let me handle that, because I'm going to be like the teacher or the coach, and they'll listen to me when they don't want to listen to you. And I have no problem with it. So, and I think all of my clients now are totally okay with that. They let me handle it, and it just kind of get better results in that regard anyway.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. All right, Sarah, I'm going to bring Mary on to answer that same question. So bring Mary on. Mary, can you tell us about what you're doing your thoughts, your strategies, your philosophies on building this emotional connection with your clients at one or two or the three of the different stages of them working with you.
Well, I think for me, the most important thing is to have empathy with them and assure them that I'll be able to help them through the whole process. That they don't need to worry at all about how the portraits are going to turn out, because I will be able to help them to get to where we are creating beautiful work that they'll be proud to have on their walls. I don't actually do a lot of family photography. I work, like I say, mostly with women and maternity clients. And so there's a lot more just one-on-one on that. And I think that I'm able to make them feel that, I can be trusted, that to feel very, very comfortable with me, and therefore be emotionally connected. I assure them that they can text me or call me or email me, whichever method is more convenient for them, with any questions or concerns that they have about the process, about the portraits, about their wardrobe. I do have people texting me the outfits that they're thinking about wearing, and also inspiration images. So, I think that that helps them to feel comfortable that I am definitely interested in creating what it is that they want. So, if I do happen to be photographing children, I always assure the parents that they don't need to worry about the children. If I can see that a parent is tensing up because the child is being somewhat uncooperative, I assure them to just, I have a lot of patience, and I can wait it out and be there to, help the children to calm down. And it's really fun for me working one-on-one with the children. And as I say, I don't do a lot of families, but I do love photographing individual children and creating a more serious portrait of them. That's how we see our children a lot of the time, not always smiling and laughing and being silly. I think it's important to show how they look when they're not smiling as well. And I think that just assuring them that it's okay, whatever the child is doing, if they let me work with them one-on-one, then we will get the portraits that we're after.
Sounds simple enough. Sounds like you've thought it through. Thank you for that. All right, so I have the next question for you. Sarah touched on this a moment ago, but the next question is on leveraging technology. So, how do you leverage technology to enhance the client experience?
I do not do sneak previews or anything like that, as far as using technology such as social media and that type of thing. I show the images for clients to select on a very large television screen, and use the technology behind the Lightroom, and the television itself, to help them make their selections. With using Lightroom, I'm able to show them and compare images side by side, go through and make their first selection of what they may or may not want, and then narrow it down from there. We do, usually at least a couple or 3 rounds of going through the images. I personally do not have Pro Select, so I do not have that technology, but I just using the television is how I use it.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. So
Mhm.
are you doing that? Are they coming to you, or are you going to them when you're showing your
Typically, I
images?
have them come to me, to my home
I got you.
studio, and then I always try to make them feel welcome from the very first time that they walk into my home, which would normally be the consultation. I welcome them. I bring them into the family area. I show them where we're going to shoot, where we will view the images, and then I think they typically feel pretty comfortable doing it that way. I
Oh, I know
usually
they do. I've been there. So when you welcomed me in, I felt real comfortable immediately. So yeah,
thank you,
whatever you're trying to do, it's working.
thank you. Yeah, so uh, that seems to work pretty well most of the time.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, you definitely have a warm and inviting introduction, and everything is right there when you walk in. So you can just share this is this is that,
Yes,
and they can immediately just become comfortable with that environment. And you are welcoming and making them feel comfortable with your words and actions. So yeah, you're making it happen.
I do have. It's not really technology per se, but I do have portraits displayed on the wall so that they can see,
Yeah.
the type of work that we're producing. And I want them to know where they're going to be, to see that it's clean and comfortable, and that I have the appropriate equipment. I guess that's some of that is technology, if we're counting that. But that I have the equipment to get the job done for them and do a good job for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mary.
Yeah.
I've got that same question now for Liliana. So let's bring her on. All right, Liliana, can you tell me a little bit about technology's role? How do you leverage technology to enhance your client's experience?
The main software would be the CRM software so that I can automate reminders for my clients um, before each appointment, um, and helps kind of handhold them through the process. I also send a wardrobe guide in there, and at the end of the session, I thank them, and whenever the products have been delivered, I ask for a review on Google, and I send them a link to my page. That's all automated. Um, then I also use ProSelect. That's helped me with selling wall art. There's no question. People just think a 16 by 20 is a large image, and it's really hard to overcome that unless you show them what the image looks in actual size. And then it's not that they want that. They want a 16 by 20 is that they have not been educated. So ProSelect is very helpful in educating the client as far as what looks correct in their home. I also, it depends on the client, but sometimes we do that selection appointment and project at the studio, and sometimes I do it at their home. I prefer to do it at their home so that they can see exactly what the art is going to look in their space. But these are the two key software that I use. I use Capture One, so and Photoshop, of course. I hope that answers your question.
A lot of different things that we use. Some of the things we just don't even really even think about. They're just we just use them,
Yes,
and when someone
I
asks a
agree.
question like this, it doesn't even cross your mind to
Yeah,
bring it up. So and that's fine because if you were to actually do some research and find out every single thing that you've used, every piece of equipment, every piece of software, every app you've ever used, it would take you probably an hour to describe everything. So I'm glad you're not thinking of every single thing that you could.
Those
Well,
are the
thank you
key
for that.
ones. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think Photoshop plays a key role in a lot of our um, uh, processes. I don't know that it plays a role at all for our client experience unless you're allowing them to watch you do your artwork. And I have done that, but someone has to request it, and I have to really like them before I would let them do it because it's time consuming. It's boring. It's just not fun to watch. And besides, do they really want to see their face that close up?
Nobody does.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Liliana. I'm going to ask that same question now of Sarah. So I'll bring her on. Sarah, can you tell me about how you leverage technology to enhance your client experience? You mentioned 17 hats already, and you may want to say more about that, but there's probably some other things that you use as well.
There is, yeah. And actually, it's changed quite a bit as I have moved from state to state to state.
Yeah.
So, having been in business in 3 states and 3 different, very, very different cities, I am not currently doing IPS. I do a bit. I offer products, of course. I've offered products from day one, but when I moved over to more of an all-inclusive model, sort of a hybrid model. It was when my husband was deployed a lot and I wasn't able to, it was just really, really difficult to handle my kids and all their school responsibilities and all of that, along with my business solo parenting. That was really difficult. So that's when I realized I just needed to simplify things. So initially I had started out doing IPS in my clients' homes, and I not to invest too much money. I wanted to just grow slowly. And as I earn money, invest back into my business. So I kept it very simple. And I brought my iPad and I set it up in my client's living room. And I played the slideshow that I had created for them there in the living room. So we got to view the slideshow together. And that was back when I was using Shootproof, and I love Shootproof. I'm not currently using it because I have sort of begun a different delivery process, which I could talk about later if you're interested, but I still do love Shootproof. So that is what I use to show my clients their slideshow. And then I helped them choose a collection, choose images, choose canvases for their wall or prints. I did that right in their home. And then when we moved to the DC area and I wanted to simplify things and have more of an all-inclusive, sort of almost an automated model, I started having online galleries and delivering them to my clients. And I would still offer print products, and I would touch base with my clients to see what kind of print products they would like to order. And currently in San Antonio, I have slightly tweaked things a bit. And I'm now using PicTime, and it's really, really beautiful interface. It's a beautiful gallery delivery software. It is a bit fiddly, and it's a little hard to learn on the back end. The learning curve's been a bit steep for me, but it's really, really beautiful. And I love how it shows my clients their slideshow and gallery in such a way that it's like it's holding their hand when I'm not. And again, my husband is frequently gone. And so having IPS appointments in the evening or at any other time is just something, it just wasn't working for our family at this stage in our lives. And so I wanted something very, very simple. So because my communication with my clients on a personal level, I feel like is so good. I feel good about giving them their gallery, delivering it through the software so that they know how it works. They know they have some images that are included with their session. They get to pick. They have a print credit where they can choose products. All of my products are here in my studio, so they can pick them up and see them and feel them and look at them. And so I really love that the software I'm using now sort of it walks them through it because it's really well designed and very intuitive for them. A little harder for me to set up, but it's really seamless and smooth for them. And I actually had a client who worked in tech, and she told me, oh, this was really cool. I really liked it. So that felt really awesome to know that someone who is sort of keen on technology and knows a little bit about it really enjoyed using the software. So I think that's the biggest part of what I use is my CRM to automate things and to keep the process smooth and anticipate my clients' needs, and also the gallery delivery software to give them a really beautiful way to experience their photos and to actually get gifts and things to put on their walls.
Do you find that your clients are receptive to that you have to talk them into it? Or is it just something that's built in, it's built up, it's something that they know from the beginning, these are the processes we're gonna go through, these are the things we're going to end up with? How do you, share that with your clients so that they're not, the client that just wants digital files at the end?
Can you clarify that a little bit more? Do I need to feel like
Mm.
I have to talk them in, or do I feel like I have to talk them into what part?
So, a little bit of background. My clients expect to be buying prints after
Mhm,
this after we do things.
mhm.
However, there's a lot of photographers who have never even so much as attempted to sell products. They have only done digital files.
Oh,
Now,
I
that's
lost
only
you.
been in the last 20 years because prior to that, it would be film, and so everybody did prints. There wasn't a single photographer who didn't sell prints. But post, the digital age starting, photographers started just selling digital files and never really learned how to do the print side. And so
Mhm.
they would be wondering, well, how do you get people to sell to buy prints? Don't they just want digital files? All of my clients want digital files. How do you talk them into that?
Well, all of I would say the majority of my clients do want that. Um, and I think I don't know if it's sort of that stage in their life that they're moms with young children. I think they do always typically want the digital files, and they know they're going to be getting those. But I want the reason I sort of tweaked what I offer when we moved to San Antonio is I realized I want my clients to have products in their hands. I don't want to simply give them digital files. And that's, I'm trying to think. When we lived in DC, we were only there just under 2 years, like 22 months or something. And so there was a lot of sort of figuring out what business model I wanted to use because my initial one just wasn't working for our family, didn't seem to be working for my clients. So I went to an all-inclusive model, which was beautifully simple, but it left this nagging thing that I thought, this isn't, it's not all that I want for them. I know how important a beautiful photograph is in your hands, and I want my clients to have that. So that's why I came to kind of build in the products into the session so that most of my clients get a print credit now where they can choose it on their own. But because it doesn't work with this stage of my family's life to do in-person sales appointments, it's just, for me, it's not working for me right now. I wanted to do something else. What I love about the print credit is that my clients can shop from the comfort of their own home. Just right. And I know a lot of photographers think, oh, I still wouldn't, that's still like leaving the work to my client, and which I get, but I think my clients, we communicate so well. And I always check in on them, and they can say, hey, what about this? I have clients ordering canvases and they ask me questions. And so I will walk them through every step of the way if they need it. A lot of my clients, though, don't. They know exactly what they need and what they want. And honestly, though, large wall portraits aren't typically what my families go for. It's the albums. They want a beautiful album of their entire session. And so a lot of times, especially family sessions, I shoot those with those albums in mind to tell that story. So it's not typically a big wall print that they're getting, but it's stuff for albums. So
Nice. Well, thank you very much for that. So we're coming to the end of our time. Can you share maybe some closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers?
um Oh, you put me on the spot.
I'm
um,
gonna put Mary and Liliana on the spot as well, but of course they're
Hope I
knowing
lost you again.
about it ahead of time. You're the first one I'm asking, but yeah, just whatever, anything that you'd like to share as some parting advice.
Well, I think I could, because even right now, as I see Mary and Liliana and their gorgeous work, and they're still doing what I at one time did, and part of me thinks, oh gosh, maybe I should be doing that. I should be doing that. I think to other photographers, it's important to, I think, trust your gut. And if you know something isn't working for you business wise, for your family, because that is why we have a business. It is to serve our clients, but ultimately it's because we want to support our families and feed our creativity, and it's what we're called to do. But I feel like you've got to trust your gut. And so ultimately, if you trust your gut to make a decision on how you want to serve your clients, if your clients are happy with that and they're thanking you and coming back to you, I think that's the key. That tells you you're doing something right. You're doing okay. So even if it doesn't look like what someone else is doing, ultimately, if you always strive to serve your clients in whatever way you need to, it's okay if what you're doing doesn't look like someone else. The client is the most important thing, that they're happy with their experience with you. So if they keep coming back and they're happy, I think you can be okay with whatever maybe non-traditional way you're operating.
Fantastic. Yeah, totally agree with that. There's so many different variables out there. There is no one right one. So you choose the one that you feel is right for you and the type of people you want to work with. And there you go, trusting your gut. We have to experience things. We have to learn things. We trust our gut based only on what we've done so far. That doesn't mean stop learning. That means continue to learn and be able
Absolutely.
to trust your gut from knowledge, not from feelings.
Right.
But
Challenge yourself a little too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah.
Mhm.
I appreciate hearing your thoughts, your points of view, your experiences, and you've got so many different things that you've done, so many different places that you've done them. That you have a lot to add to the panel. So I appreciate you taking your time away from your family and other things that you would be doing this evening to be with us here this evening.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
I'm gonna bring on let's see, Liliana next. So let's bring on Liliana. So, Liliana, I didn't tell you were going to be next, but guess what? You're next. And guess who's after you? Mary's after you. So, Mary now knows the order she's going to be in. Saving the best for last? No, all three of you are the best. You're fantastic. Love you guys. You've shared so many good things and so many good experiences. So, do you have some parting advice that you can share with everyone who's watching us right now?
I would say your client has reached out to you, or your prospect, because they like what you're doing. They like your style. They have heard from others about your experience, that they had a great experience, and so they want to have the same experience. So make sure that your experience is consistent, that you present yourself as a professional, that your equipment is clean, that you're prepared, that your clothes are presentable and appropriate for the client that you're going to meet with. Be respectful of your client's time. I know sometimes we get carried away and start shooting and we want to try different things, but with a client, that is not necessarily the appropriate thing to do. And I've done it plenty of times. I speak from experience here. We get excited about what we're doing, but we really need to stick to the timeline. And we told them it would be, because they probably started the day early. They're tired. And I think that's going to equal, or it's going to result in the best experience for the client. And, speak confidently. They already called you. They like you. just prepare and offer them the best that you can. Offer them the best experience, whatever that looks like for you. I think tonight we heard a lot of really good tips that you can implement into your business right away, that are going to help, get your clients the best experience and also recommend you to other people. So that's what I have to say.
Love it. Perfect. I appreciate all that good stuff. I have a question from a viewer, and he is asking about. Uh, well, I'll just put his question up on the screen. So it's long, so that's why I was thinking, do I want to put that there, or I just want to summarize it? But he's noticed that a lot of photographers who are active and up and coming, and just seems like there's a lot of women, a lot of moms who are doing this, and so his concern may be is I probably should just read it rather than just. So amongst other things, are wives just more comfortable hiring a woman to do family photographs? Or if so, are there things that a male photographer I should be doing above and beyond to make myself appealing in the competitive world of portrait photography? What's your thought, hiring a male photographer versus hiring a woman photographer?
The business, the industry has changed quite a bit. I do agree. It used to be a majority male dominated. In fact, a lot of workshops and things like that are still done by men, but women are gaining ground, and they actually are probably the majority now when you go to conferences, a lot of them. I don't know. That's a tough question. I think that most people will hire you for your style and your experience, period. They like what you do. They like how you present yourself. I can see that being of a concern in a situation. Perhaps if you're doing maternity, I would think that somebody would want another woman, or if you're doing boudoir or perhaps newborns. But in family portraits, in when it comes to headshots, when it comes to the majority of the work that we do. And even then, there's very successful male boudoir photographers. So don't let that get in your head at all. I don't see why that would be a concern. I think that if you think that's going to be coming up, maybe try to meet in public places all the time. But I think that might be something I don't want to ignore his concern, but I don't think that should stop him from having a very successful business, just like Jim Landers.
Thanks. So I agree. I think it's a valid concern. I think all concerns are valid, though. To the extent of, does it harm your business because you're a male? I don't believe it does, simply because you don't have, as an individual, enough time to photograph every single person who is in need or want of a photographer. So therefore, you are just doing your best to attract your ideal client, and that may. There are those who definitely prefer. I've definitely been told a handful of times, not a lot, that they preferred a male photographer. That doesn't happen often. I've seen the opposite more often, but that means that there are people who are looking for that. So we just need to do a good job of defining who we are and putting ourselves in the path of those who we want to work with the most. Yeah. And so all these other variables, while valid, I think just kind of fall away, because we've done a good job of defining who we are and who we want to work with.
And be professional in all your communications. That's going to instill trust. It doesn't matter what, the gender of the person hiring you. Do you communicate as a professional? Do you have a solid style? Those are the things that are going to be the most important thing. Do not, don't make it awkward for clients, and don't get a bad reputation. That's it.
And that's fantastic. I mean, that applies no matter who you are. That is something that applies to you. So yeah, Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing what you were sharing about your experience. Thank you for this question I just kind of threw at you. Um, I, 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 I feel all of us have some type of opinion on certain things, and so thank you for adding yours on that one. And thank you for giving your time this evening and sacrificing
Absolutely.
whatever else that you would have been doing for this show and for the benefit of photographers who are watching. So thank you, Liliana.
Thank you
I
so much for
appreciate you.
inviting me. I'm
Of
honored.
course. Of course. I appreciate that. All right. I'm going to ask the same question now of Mary. Not the question that you just heard, but I'm going to let her close out with her advice. So let's bring her on. Mary,
Hey,
guess what? You're
I
the last one to share your thoughts
okay.
and advice. So
Okay.
I hope that doesn't put any pressure on you. You are fantastic. I know that a lot of us. You mentioned about self-conscious at first when you began your business, and that's something that is a part of many of us. I think creatives even more so, where we have this, I don't know, this strong emotional connection to different things that we do. We want others to have good experiences, and we know that we can play a role in making sure that that happens. So we create as we're a strange bunch, but we're fantastic, and we are effective because of that emotion. So, do you have any words of advice that you could share with us for today? About what you've done or what you feel about this topic or any really.
Sure. I would say it's really important to uh, not be so concerned about what everybody else is doing and do what works best for you and for your family and for your lifestyle. Um, I know that it can be a little bit disheartening to see someone be very, very busy, but are they able to sustain being so busy, perhaps, and not charging enough? Um, I would say don't worry about how busy someone else might be or the work that they're producing, even necessarily. Do your very best work for every client. Be yourself and present your best self in service to your client. Um, and I think that's what is going to make the client happy. Besides your beautiful work, is the service that you provide to them. Um, Always with a caring heart, and of course, putting the most into your work that you can to give them the best product, best images and products that you can provide them. But by being yourself and true to who you are, true to the work that you want to produce. Don't change your style just because you're seeing something that someone else is doing and it looks pretty cool or whatever. That doesn't mean necessarily that you need to do it. Do what represents you, and that should take you far.
Amen. I totally agree with that. Uh, you be you. You do the things that bring you joy, that cause the things you want to happen for you and your family. Oh, all that stuff sounds fantastic. I mean, I have analogies for everything. It seems like I consider trying to do what someone else does the equivalent of I'm driving down the road, and because this cool car exited, well, I'm going to exit too. What what sense does that make?
Yeah,
He's going or she's going a different direction. Just because I like the car doesn't mean I'm going to exit with them. I'm going
right.
to keep on heading the direction that is going to be the most beneficial for me, that brings the most joy for me and my family and my clients. And it sounds like you and I are on the same page. Is that right?
I think so.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate you being here. I know you had other things going on. You sacrificed because you believe in uplifting photographers, and you put yourself out there so that you could fulfill that goal, that mission you have in your life of making. Of uplifting people and making them better than they were yesterday. And so I appreciate you and all that you do in that direction to help people out.
Thank you for
especially
inviting me, Jim.
photographers. Of
Yeah,
course.
I
Of
appreciate
course. And so I'm going to bring back each one of our panelists today. And I didn't warn you guys I was going to do that. I apologize. I didn't even look to see
I
if
was
you
like,
were,
wake up.
taking a drink or, fixing your hair. I didn't look. I apologize. But thank you guys. You guys rock. I appreciate you spending your time. I appreciate that you care about photographers enough to sacrifice something else to be here to uplift other photographers. You guys are awesome.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Jim.
having me.
All right. So, with that, I'm going to take them off, and I've got some things that I want to share. And let's bring them back off. There we go. Man, don't you just love these guys? I mean, they are doing wonderful things. They are taking their time from something else and being here to uplift other photographers. Will you do me a favor and thank them in the comments? Just write thank you, or thank you, panelists, or thank you, Portrait Profit Show, or just whatever you want to say. Go to the comments and just say something kind, something nice to acknowledge the fact that they have taken their time. They have sacrificed something because they believe in uplifting the photography community. It is wonderful people like Liliana, Sarah, and Mary who uplift the photography community. And we want to encourage them to continue to do so with their comments, with their like, with their love, because they are fantastic. They're amazing. Now, I have some announcements to share with you. I have started. Um, I'm going to be doing a business series with a camera exchange, which is local to San Antonio. I know not everyone watching is in San Antonio, but the majority of people are. Every Wednesday at 11 for 2 hours, 11 to 1, for the next 4 weeks. And possibly more, but at least the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be doing a business class. And the one that's coming up on this Wednesday, that's 2 days from now, is called Dream to Full Time in 6 months. How to just have this. Some people have this dream of being a photographer, but they have a full-time job that's they like the pay that they're getting, they like the benefits. I really can't leave it. But their creative side has been pushing them probably for years to do so, and they want to. This is for you guys. Or to enhance what you already have. But this is Dream to Full Time in 6 months. Just go to camerax.com to find more information about that one. Camerax.com. And the day after, this coming Thursday, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., same exact time as what we're doing right now, the San Antonio Photography Facebook group. That's San Antonio Photography and Photo Essay invite you to join us for an enlightening evening as Chris and Lori Fritchie share unique and amazing insights. I'm going to put that up on the screen because I have that handy. This is fine art photography and archiving it. Now, you may know who these names. If you don't know these names, Chris and Lori Fritchie, you should. You will benefit by knowing who these people are. Your life will be better by knowing who these guys are. They're nationally known. They do classes all over the US and beyond. And so they are coming here to San Antonio. We're going to be meeting at the camera exchanges. We're going to be meeting for both of the things I mentioned at 6:30. But they're going to be sharing their just unique and amazing insights into creating timeless fine art photography and how to archive them so that they stand a test of time. Now, I know you save your stuff on your computer, or you have a NAS, or you have a cloud backup. This blows that away. What they're going to be sharing with you, you haven't heard it before because it's new and they haven't announced it yet. They're announcing it on Thursday at 6:30 at the Camera Exchange for the photography meeting. We do a photography meeting here in San Antonio on the second Thursday of every single month, and we've done that since January of 2006. So whether you're an amateur enthusiast or a seasoned pro, this promises to inspire and uplift, and it elevates you and your craft. So I hope that you'll be there. A little bit more about Chris and Lori. They are just a dynamic duo from behind the acclaimed Magic Makers studio in McKinney, Texas. They're going to be bringing a wealth of experience and passion to the world of photography. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I have just a few more things I want to share you, because on every single Monday you get this free lesson on the business side of photography. Now, with the exception of the second Monday of every single month, we do this at noon. So the next several ones are going to be at noon. The next one coming up, and let me put that up on the screen. Let's see. There we go. April 15th, we're going to be doing Get 5 New Clients Today. 5 new clients today. That's 1 week from today at noon. 5 new clients today. Now, I know there's some of you who may not have had a client in a little while. You're going to want this. You may want to just improve the system that you have for gaining clients. But in this one class, and I guarantee it or your money back. Of course, it's free. So, but I'd guarantee it even if it didn't have, even if it wasn't free. Get 5 new clients today, 1 week from today. Put that on your calendar. I guess I should take that back off. April 15th at noon. One week after that, on April 22nd, using software to manage your business. The panelists today alluded to a little bit of that stuff that we're going to be talking about on April 22nd. Put it on your calendar, April 22nd at noon. On April 29th, quick money. Now, that's not the way to do your planning, but hey, there are times when you just need some quick money. April 29th, I'm going to tell you how to do it. You're going to be surprised. April 29th, quick money. April 6th, or excuse me, May 6th, moving into a new month already. Whew. Quickly identify ideal clients using AI. We've only had 4, I believe, sessions so far on using AI. There are so many cool things that you guys could be using. I know there's some of you that are resisting it. That's why I'm giving it to you just in little pieces, little doses, but put on your calendar, May 6th, quickly identify ideal clients using AI. It's going to make your life so much better. On May 13th, that's when we do another one just like today. So it won't be at noon. This one will be at 6:30 in the evening. We have a panel discussion on how I generate leads. How I generate leads. Put on your calendar, May 13th at 6:30. That's enough for what's coming into the future. I hope you've enjoyed this session, show number 162 of the Portrait Profits Show, how I give my clients the best experience. So as we bring today's show to a close, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our distinguished panelists for sharing their wisdom and experiences with us. Their journeys as professional photographers have opened our eyes to new paths for our own success. Their stories of overcoming obstacles serves as inspiration. They've shown us that beyond the pixels and screens lies a tangible connection to our work and our clients. And it's deeply rooted in tradition and craftsmanship. Photographers, legends, as I like to call you guys, let their stories be a reminder that our profession is more than capturing moments. It's about creating legacies for both your clients and for you. Photographers aren't just members of some profession. We leave a mark on the world through stories. The stories we tell and the memories we immortalize. We are guardians of moments, crafters of heirlooms, and architects of history. As we move forward, armed with the insights and inspirations from our wonderful panelists, let's challenge ourselves to push the boundaries of creativity and professionalism. Let's commit not only to enhancing our skills, but also to nurturing the bonds that make our photography community a source of strength, innovation, and collective achievement. Thank you once again to our panelists and for their generous contributions, and to you for joining us this evening. Until next time, Keep focusing on your vision, refining your art, and defining your success on your own terms. The world of portrait photography is vast and varied, and it awaits your unique impact. I want to thank you for your time here this evening. I want to thank you for the efforts that you put in every day to make yourself such an amazing portrait photographer. I encourage you to like and share the Portrait Profit Show, and of course, tune in to our next live stream a week from today. Together, we help each other achieve our goals and make a difference in the world through our passion for portrait photography. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, my name is Jim Landers, and I'm bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show with evolving content, awareness, and even fun as we unpack the mysteries of the business side of portrait photography with tips and insights to help you with the struggles you deal with now, so you are constantly and consistently realigned to the path that leads to your success. Thank you for investing your time here at the weekly Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to watching you grow. Bye for now.